The first one is usually they have bad offers. That's very common. It's like they think they have good offers, but it's not the case. So that if they really want to make money, they need to change their offers. It's like I really like the fact, like if you have a service, like you need to have, like, let's say 3 offers, with one that is really very very pricey. One is the one you usually want to sell, and something that is let's say lower ticket. But this need to be clear in your mind. So the first thing is the offer. That's very common, that people that want to sell this stuff. What do you sell exactly? And when you zoom, you're like, okay, you're going to waste money, energy, and time. The second thing, of course, there's a problem with content. So it depends on let's say the platforms we choose. And sometimes this is hard because you need to tell people, if you will need to post like almost every day during 6 months, and you need to do really great stuff. It's hard for many people because they work, over stuff. And the last one, which is also common but more advanced, is people don't delegate enough.
Before we dive into today's episode, please hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us grow and inspire more people on their journeys. Thank you. Hello, Florian. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Thomas.
So, Florian, for those who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is it's Florian Camiade, and I'm mostly, let's say, a marketing guy. I mostly create funnels for people. That's what I did during many years, and now I'm writing quite a lot, let's say, on LinkedIn and on other places, and I share like tips about sometimes personal branding, AI, and marketing. But that's overall what I do.
I was actually wondering if you're going to introduce yourself as primary AI person, or what would be kind of the biggest part. So would you say that AI is not like the first one, it's rather marketing or branding?
That's a difficult question, even for me. In fact, I'm mostly marketing guy, and I use AI a lot, and I continue to use AI a lot, and I like to speak about it. But I mostly see myself as a marketing guy. I'm doing copywriting, this kind of stuff. But in public, I speak sometimes about, let's say, easier topic that are AI related. So I can touch more people, and then I sometimes speak about more complex topic about funnel stuff that can be quite boring, but brings money. So it's more like I started like with marketing, and when AI came, I was like, okay, I'm doing copywriting. This is going to replace me, or
I was actually about to ask you, because obviously AI, it's a big topic, especially now, and it's only growing. So if you are actually someone who's always been interested in this topic, or if you saw opportunity or kind of necessity to learn it and to include it in your work once it kind of emerged.
Yes, I'm mostly in the second part. It's like, in fact, I discovered AI first on the old image creation models. It was like 3 years ago, and it was really, really bad. So at this moment, and I was like quite impressed. And then after when ChatGPT 3.5 was there, I was like, okay, now something is definitely changing. So it's like for me, it's a necessary change.
Yes. And did you see it just as, for example, for yourself to help you with your branding, maybe for you to play with that to enjoy, or did you already see it as something that is going to play a big role in your work, in working with clients, and basically any work that you do?
It's like at the beginning, let's say, I was like, okay, it's interesting, but it's not good enough. So I was like, you can be impressed by some stuff, but at the end, it sounded like very generic with a lot of emoji. There was only text. So I was like at the beginning, in fact, mostly for fun, let's say. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I'm sure that this is going to evolve enough. And it will be like, okay, now we really need to use it. So my opinion is that at the beginning, I was more like, okay, it's fun, but let's speak about it because things are going to change. But it was not good enough, definitely not good enough. When I was doing copywriting, I was like not really impressed. I was like, okay, good. I mean, if you do a lot of mistakes, it helps, this kind of stuff. But you needed, let's say, a lot of brain, your brain, to understand if it's good or not. And now it's very different. Also, you still need to understand it, but it's like it's almost the opposite. It's almost like too smart for many people. So you have like too much good proposition, but you need to choose the good ones.
I agree. The progress has been crazy, although I haven't been playing or using that for such a long time as you. But I think sometimes I feel like that still people forget that it's not just copy and paste. That they think that you put the prompt in and it gives you immediately the answer. Maybe sometimes does, but as we know, LinkedIn, sometimes it feels like that people forget there should be some kind of human touch as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's the trap. It's like in some posts, I did that like 2 years, 2 years and a half ago. I was like, okay, you can do a blog post with one prompt. So it was kind of funny. But at the beginning, there was not too much like this. But the problem is, as you know, there's people who don't understand what they do. And if you don't write, you don't work with your brain. Okay, you can write stuff, for example, on LinkedIn. It's quite it seems good, but when you're on a call, when you speak with professionals, they can instantly see that you don't understand what you're doing.
So yes, yeah. I sometimes find it just funny that people forget, for example, when it comes to commenting on LinkedIn, that imagine if that person was speaking like that in a real life. Like it, I cannot imagine someone speaking like that often when I read those comments.
Yes, with M dashes in between the phrases. Oh, it's not this, it's that. Like,
Yeah,
no.
or even like these words or kind of phrases, you know, refreshing perspective. I cannot imagine anyone saying this in real life, like something like that.
Yeah, that's a good example of bad copywriting. Is like, let's say, if you read it aloud and it don't sound how what you would usually said, you say there's a problem. It should be when we said natural. It's like when you speak, it should look like how you write. And so
Mhm.
there's this problem of coherence between people who have now a post like are really great, and when they speak, it's not them at all. So all these
Yeah.
and in comments, it's really sometimes it's really obvious. You're like, but
Uh,
that's their, I would say it's their problem at the moment. So they will see if they don't get customers. Maybe they will need to change, not to do a mass of comments, fake comments, but maybe start to put something more related to their expertise.
mhm. I always say that I prefer if it's like a comment that is person authentic, even if grammatical mistakes, because as we discussed before, we are not natives either, so we make mistakes as well. But at least it shows that it's natural, that it's human, and it's more simply authentic and better than overly formal comment that sounds so super unrealistic.
I see a future where we will have like GPTs with mistakes inside. Please do some mistakes to show that it's nature. I think it's the next step. Like, oh, you see, it's real comments if there was some mistakes.
Yeah, so it sounds more. So it's not that obvious that it's AI. Yeah, I agree. And then, Florian, just to come back, not to discuss too much of AI now, but your side of marketing, is that actually area or topic that you've always been interested in?
So it was not the case. It was like a long process, but long story short, at first I was a musician.
Oh wow, I
Yes,
didn't know
that's
that
what.
actually.
That's why I still have a guitar here. Like sometimes I still play. And so I was a musician. I play at gigs in studio. So that was the first part of my life. But also, like most musicians, like you can be kind of poor, and you're always broke. And I like, okay, it starts to be okay, it's cool, but yeah. And then I switched to photography. So I learned everything photography and videography. And this time I learned the importance of image branding. In fact, it's at this moment, and I start to do more sales. So life start to be way better. But I was like, okay, something is missing. And then it was like, so exactly, it was almost 6 years ago now. It's this moment when I start to go in marketing. I was like, okay, how can I really scale? And let's say, if it was possible to meet myself when I was like 20 and teach something, what do I want to learn? So I know it sounds very LinkedIn cliche, but in fact, it's exactly this. I was like, I had the skills, but I don't know how to sell. So I was like, just working my guitar, try to be the best, but it's not enough. When you want to make money, you need to know over skills. And so then I started really marketing like 6 years ago, mainly digital marketing. That's it.
And if you don't mind me asking, as a musician, were you like a solo musician, part of the group or a band, or what type of musician?
So I was mostly part of a band. So mostly guitarist, sometimes bassist, which is an interesting role because let's say nobody can hear you. I don't know what you play when you play bass, but at the same time, everybody needs you because like you're part of you kind of a glue between the drums and the guitars and everything. So I really like team project, in fact. But usually I prefer to be behind, which is kind of funny because now when I do LinkedIn stuff, I speak about personal branding. That's another story. It's like I showing myself more. I don't like it at all, but I know that we need to connect with people. So I spend a lot of time in the back end. When I was playing with band, I was like helping everybody to compose, to do the stuff, and help if there's a singer, my role was to push the singer in the front and make everything great for this person. So it was part of a role, like a small company, let's say.
I guess now because as I said, I didn't really know this, but now it makes sense why you have a profile picture with headphones as a musician.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I kept it for me it's normal. I always have headphones because I listen to music, I record, and I still play. So for me, it's part of. It's not branding tips, like just what I do. Except as you can see now I have orange stuff like my curtains, but no, in fact, just a mistake. I just I just put like some stuff to protect it. Just 2 days ago, I was like, okay, I will say to your podcast, but it's branding tips. But oh, sorry, I
Yeah.
interrupted you. What do you want to say?
No, actually, my question, you answered it because I know that you mentioned that you still have your guitar. So the question was just if you still play, but you said that you still play because you
Yeah.
enjoy it. But then you said that you switched to photography, which means that you've always been a creative person, right?
Yeah. Well, it's let's say I have a profile of an artist at the beginning, so it's kind of funny because when I was writing about AI, like especially 2 years and a half ago, most of the artists they hated AI, but they still don't like it. But it's like it was really hard, and when I was writing about this, nobody knew that I was an artist. Still now they don't really care; it's not really important. But they think like, oh, the tech bro, they speak about art. That kind of funny.
But that's a good point because I heard it like from many people, and I'm not surprised. Like from the artists, that I guess there are like two areas. You either hate AI because I don't know, might be afraid that it takes your work, or you don't like what it does, or the other side that embraces that and welcomes it. So, would you say that you are on the spectrum of the people that embrace it, or what's basically your opinion on these two fields?
I like this topic because, of course, I know many artists and I am one. Me, I definitely on the let's embrace it. And also, this is connected to why I speak sometimes about personal branding because I definitely think that art more now it will be about connecting with people. So I like to do this comparison. It's been 100 years that when we have cars, okay, but we still watch people running and beat scores, in sport. It makes no sense, but we're still doing that. I was like, oh, I want to be like this guy. And art is kind of the same stuff. The problem is if you don't show your face at all and you just create images, then yes, you're dead. You're dead. However, if you show yourself, you show your stuff, you show how you do it, why you do it, you put storytelling, makes sense. Now, in fact, I think there will be even more space because there will be like a lot of AI fluff, and there will be the real artists that continue. Now, there's something in between that is interesting. It's like, okay, so let's say that you're an artist and you do your personal brand, but how much do you use AI, or do you use AI at all? And that's that's different because some artists in fact they don't need it at all if they play this part. However, AI can help them to create content like the text, this kind of stuff. So it's not it's kind of, they need to think in reverse. They need to think, okay, I will use AI to help me create content, not to help me in my art.
Yeah, I like it, and I agree because although I don't have such experience as you do, but before I also did like some creative stuff. I worked in VFX, and I know back then, like what was it like when AI was kind of emerging and what impacts it had or it was going to have on the field of VFX. So I'm kind of always curious to hear about this. And although I haven't done VFX myself, but worked in the industry, I feel like that I can somehow relate. And I feel the same, that it's just better try to embrace it. Of course, not saying as a replacement, but something that is going to help you to improve. And as we know, it just keeps progressing. So I think that in the end, it's going to be just inevitable.
I completely agree. And it's like technology is always moving forward. What can we do? It's like betting against internet. So
Yeah. And who knows, when we release this episode, it might be outdated already with what we discussed. What's then, Florian, your, let's say, source of, or what are your resources when you look for information when it comes to AI? Because it's moving fast. I always hear or discover something, and a few days after it's outdated already. So what helps you?
okay, so for sources, in fact, the main part is X. So it's like what I do is, for example, OpenAI. Let's say on my phone, I don't allow notification, especially notifications on message or thing like this. Just I open LinkedIn and I see that I have a message, and I open at certain moment of the day. However, the only part where I said, okay, let's bypass this is I have notification for example, OpenAI or Gemini, Google, this kind of account, specifically this kind of account. And when they post a news, I can see like, okay, now that something is happening. So that's one of the best way to know what happened. The second thing is, let's say, to know people, because there's always there's always for example, creators who have access before everybody. However, there's some limits because they should be on NDA. So they
Are you
can't
one of
speak.
them?
I don't know. I'm not. I'm not. Well, so sometimes, but I'm not at this level.
Not yet.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe sometimes I know some things in advance, and I'm like, okay, let's wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, the best thing, my opinion, is to use. Okay, if you just want to know there's a new tool or something like this, it's X. If you want to know how to use a tool, like most people, it's YouTube. I would say if you use mostly TikTok, Instagram, it's a waste of time because because it's like you scroll, there's short, it's really fast, you partially understand the stuff. So for my opinion, it's not the best place for it.
It's a rabbit hole. Algorithm starts working and you're there forever.
Yeah, that's it. It's not, there's not a lot of content, deep content. It's like usually you just have like a top 7 AI tools because it's very visual. And also people on Instagram, TikTok, they like visual stuff. So for example, maybe like actually we'll see, but now there's a new model of Gemini image. Maybe we'll see a lot of stuff more on Instagram because it's visual. So it's like, it's impressive. But apart of that, you don't see a lot of useful stuff. So if you want useful, go on YouTube. If you want to know before you go on X, let's say if you can handle the fact that there's some people on X, that it's really the opposite of LinkedIn in terms of mindset. When sometimes I post the same stuff on LinkedIn and on X, it's it's like the comments. It's like it's completely different. It's like LinkedIn. It's really people show their face. So so if there's the AI comment, but there's also a lot of people where, oh yeah, great, I should use like this. Oh yeah, great, kiss, and you post the same stuff on Twitter. There's some people with the anime face of a cat, and they just say, oh you bullshit or.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that I asked you this question and you answered it like this, because I often ask it how people keep up and what are their sources of information, because I often learn from it a lot as well. But that you mentioned X, it's actually a great idea. And I was about to ask you when you mean to follow those companies, if it's on X or on LinkedIn, but based on what you said, you mean it's on X, right? That is like more frequent and better source of latest updates and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So it's the case. Even though we don't like X, if just for news, it's faster. It's like, there's a lot of creators who do that. They just don't say it. They look at the stuff on X. They are on X, they just are not active. And then push the news on LinkedIn. But the news was first on X. It's kind of strange, but like, even though a lot of company people don't like X, that's what they do. There's one exception is Mark Zuckerberg, like Meta, because he has threads, so he has his own. So that's one thing is you need to know that Mark Zuck don't post on X usually. He will post on threads. So that's the only thing you need to be aware of.
And then, since you've got experience with the platform, does it differ, or to what extent it differs? For example, when you follow the founder and the company. If we not example with Mark, but for example, some old man and OpenAI with the stuff they share and with the news.
In fact, it's great to follow both, but usually it will be the company who will do the official post first. Usually, what happens is if you look at this kind of accounts, like there's a company account that do less posts, but the official ones. So it's like this is the new stuff. Okay. And after that, you will have, for example, Sam Altman that will post quite a lot of tweets about this with more stuff. So usually it will start with the company, and then it will be the founders who will speak more casually about the stuff.
Yeah. And I guess it's worth following the founder as well in case there are any battles with other founders, like with Elon or something like that.
Yeah. A lot of stuff happen in this space. Sometimes you're like, it's a circus. Huh? X is a circus. Like you're like, okay.
Then just grab some popcorn and read the comments.
Yeah, you can do what you have less AI comments, so you can laugh. You sometimes learn stuff. Sometimes in comments in X. When I mean sometimes it's because sometimes people are like, I don't understand this. So because X is really fast, you can have a first tutorial on X, less in depth on YouTube, but you can still have your tutorial like this. I'm doing a lot of tutorial on X, and because very fast, people are very direct. They will say, but I don't understand this. Where do I need to click? And or other stuff. They're like, oh, it don't work for me because I'm living this country or whatever. And so it's like you have an instant feel about the comments, which on LinkedIn you can not have, because people are like, they just want to support the post, and so they're more afraid to say, oh, I don't understand. Well, in fact, I think that's the only thing in LinkedIn that sometimes is missing it is when people don't understand, they don't ask, because maybe probably they think they look dumb or not professional. Well, on X, they will definitely, because it's a face of anime face, or I don't know, they will ask, oh, I don't understand this, which helps when you want to create the better tutorial.
Yes, understand. Are you struggling to stay consistent on LinkedIn? FanPost helps you create high-quality posts in minutes, so you can write faster, show up more, and stress way less. Built by creators for creators. It's the easiest way to grow your presence without burning out. Try it free at fanpost.com. I would have honestly lots of questions about X because I don't really use the platform, and I feel like that maybe I haven't devoted enough time to it, but for me it hasn't really worked. But I want to focus more on talking about yourself and the stuff that you do than the platform itself. So maybe we can discuss it at some point in the future. But can you tell us more about basically how you work with your clients? Because, on LinkedIn, there are loads of personal branding people, AI people combined. So what is it maybe that makes you stand out or that makes you different?
On LinkedIn, in fact, let's say, there's nothing that makes me really different from the niche now. The thing is, on LinkedIn, I started almost 2 years ago. And after I had like health issues, and I had to stop post on LinkedIn. And when the market was like, everything's continue. When I came back, it was a lot of competitors that were far ahead, because it's about being fast. In fact, on LinkedIn, I just try, it's kind of strange. I just try to bring useful stuff. I'm like, is it useful? is it useful? And I post it, and that's all. So there's nothing specific. I don't use boards. I don't really care. It's a good test because you on one post you can see that sometimes it moves like this because there's no boards. I just try. I see what happens. If people like it, it's good. And so you now to connect this with clients. The thing is so I live in France. I have both customers that speak English and French customers. The French ones, they know me from let's say from real life, mix of LinkedIn and real life, So they continue to see my LinkedIn, and then they ask stuff. So in fact, I don't try to have a lot of customers right now for the simple reason that also it's a lot of work. What I do is usually I have like I cannot get more than five at a time when I really help. So I'm like, okay, 5 is really the maximum. So I'm like, okay, let's stop. So to answer at the end, right now, I don't really try to differentiate. There's a lot of people who speak about personal branding that are better than me. There's a lot of people who speak about kind of the same stuff that I speak about AI. So I don't try now to differentiate by I don't know, colors or topics. I just try to be useful. I'm like, okay, let's be useful. Let's be useful. And I post and I see and I speak with people.
I like it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just provide the value to people. And it makes sense to me what you said. Arden, because I saw on your LinkedIn, you mentioned some of the clients that you worked with, which are some big names or bigger names based on social media that I looked at them. So is there like a specific type of people that you work with, or it can be, I don't know, anyone or anyone before you were fully booked out?
Yeah, in fact, so it's not everybody right now. Depending on the project, I mostly work on, let's say, people that do service, especially if I can do that online. Which means it's not let's say now I'm not working with corporate company. Like if it's too big, for now I'm not working on this because I can create like automations and kind of stuff and going through this direction. So I know how to do that, but I don't try to attract them for now. Now I like to help people that are, let's say, like I was before in the past. So people who have skills, but they don't know how to sell. So mostly, in fact, I'm looking to creators. Let's say my ideal customers is like creators online that give service like coaching or whatever, and that already make some money. So that they don't need to make a lot of money, but if they start from zero, it's very hard. From 0 to 1, like it's very, very hard. The first dollar, very, very long. However, if they already do just some hundreds, sometimes, it's like the funnel, like it's like everything is broken, but there's something, there's water inside, and it's like, okay, there's something everything is connected, let's say, to have something. So, okay, well, I think that's it. Hopefully, it's answer the question.
No, you did. And you remind me because when I read about yourself, you talk about high status funnel, right?
Yeah. That's a concept. I think everybody will understand this. Is I call that like a high status funnel. So it's really about being an expert and know for this, and people pay you for what you do and the value you bring. So we said like in the 90s. In the 90s, it was a lot about having a lot of money if you want to create a company. So you need to see investor and to do LBO. Like, it's really, really big stuff. It was impossible. Then in the 2000s, it's like doing coding stuff. So you create like program, Facebook, stuff like this. And now we see like it's content creators. So it's people that show that their face, that start to make quite a lot of money. And I think that even though there's AI, it will continue to be like this. Okay. So there's a possibility that the next billionaire will be guy like Alex Hormozy or Iman Gadzhi, because they own the distribution. That's a possibility. It's like the moment they will be so popular that if you want to start a new company and you have something to sell, then it will be like let's say educative, high quality influencers. In fact, it's this. And in the spectrum, there's, let's say, influencers that are more like so educative, and influencers that are more about entertainment. You see? Yeah. And about high status funnel, it's like the concept is more for educative. Okay. So, for example, I don't work with people who mostly do fun stuff. You can do a lot of money. And there's no problem for that. And you can be like Mr. Beast. You can be gigantic. And there's no problem. It's like, it's not my expertise to work on that. And I prefer the high status parts of the high status. It's like really everything you can do in your marketing stuff. So people, when they come to you, they already know you. They know their pain. They know what you bring. They know everything. And they already trust you. So you already know probably this concept about the trust recession, and now it's still the case. In fact, it's just about trust. People, they pay because they trust you. If
That makes
they're
sense.
sure that you can solve their problem, if they're sure about that, they're going to pay. So it's about trust. And this trust, you build it by creating content online, good content, useful content. You don't need to have a lot of views. You need to have just great, useful content that is easy to consume. So the high status funnel is a mix of this, but we add the part also because it's a funnel. Okay, what's happened after the content part? You see, and so that's where things change, and also it's a little more technical, and this depends on what you sell and who you are. So do you have just a link towards a calendar, but do you have like a video sales letter with a great copywriting, with a video that explains everything? Then it's go towards a form, and this form like qualified people, and then you call them yourself, or do you do like webinars, or do you do challenge? This stuff, it's the moment where, okay, there's the easy stuff we know LinkedIn, like the content part. And when you go down, okay, what you do at the end to really close people. And the better you are at the top, and let's say it's correct here, the easier it is to close. And this is the difference between organic and cold. And I would say because with cold, if you do ads, for example, which is very different, than just created content. If you do ads, people, they don't know you at all, they don't trust you, so you need to do a lot of backend in the funnel, which it works, but it's really long. It's like when they take the call, for example, you need to still bring them a lot of contents because they don't know you, so they need to trust you, and it's really different. However, now, and that's the concept of a high status funnel. It's like ads are great. I know it combines well, but just we need to be aware of that. Is if you're really great at creating content, when the funnel is correct, it's very easy to close. You don't need a lot of stuff after. They just do the call. You do 1, 2, 3 calls depending on what you sell, and then people, they just say yes. So that's it.
And you don't have to try to convince anyone to work with you. Because you've done all the work before they know you, it's much easier and I think more satisfying as well.
Yeah, that's it. If you don't like to do a lot of close, if you're afraid to do ads, for example, this is way better. And also in long term, in the AI era with a lot of content, I think it's even better. However, there's a lot of subtleties, and as you know, we talked about that at the beginning. There's a lot of people who create like a easy post with like just where everybody can do that with ChatGPT, and this is the difficult part: is how you differentiate. Like for example, doing podcast, creating trust with real people that talk with real bugs and the problem during you see.
Yeah. And I was about to ask you from experience from working with all kinds of people and the clients, what are maybe some common challenges or obstacles that you encounter or that you are helping them with, such as any occurring ones?
Yes, usually there's kind of the same stuff. The first one is usually they have bad offers. That's very common. It's like they think they have good offers, but it's not the case. So that if they really want to make money, they need to change their offers. I did a carousel about that. It was just about I won't explain everything, but it's like I really like the fact, like if you have a service, like you need to have like, let's say 3 offers, with one that is really very very pricey, one is the one you usually want to sell, and something that is let's say lower ticket. But this need to be clear in your mind. So the first thing is the offer. That's very common, that people, they're like, oh, I want to sell this stuff. What do you sell exactly? And when you zoom, you're like, okay, you're going to waste money, energy, and time. So the usually first thing is this. The second thing, of course, there's a problem with content. So it depends on let's say the platforms we choose. Sometimes this is hard because you need to tell people you will need to post like almost every day during 6 months, and you need to do really great stuff. It's hard for many people because they work, they do other stuff. This AI helps definitely, but this is hard for everybody. So that's the second most common problem. And the last one, which is also common but more advanced, is people they don't delegate enough. So that's common with solopreneurs. Of course, there are solopreneurs and some small companies, or sometimes companies that are like, it's been years that they do the same stuff, and the CEO don't want to delegate. It's like, I know I want to do this myself, and is wasting time. And this is very common. When you come from the outside, it's obvious. Like you're like, oh, why are you still doing this? Oh, but I'm sorry, I don't know. Like we're doing the edit of a video himself, but there's 5, 6 person people in his companies. Like, so this is common, like delegating. It's very, very important at a certain point. Like, okay, now I make money. Let's work on better stuff.
And let's be honest, often there are people that can do it better, faster. So in the end, there are more advantages. I guess it's obviously hard to accept that in the beginning, but I'm pretty sure it's worth it.
And totally, it's even like it's a life and death for a company sometimes, for your business. It's like if someone is really better, which is the case, as you say, better to edit, to do graphics, something like this, you definitely need to pay someone to do it for you, and everybody will be happy. People who like to do the edits, they will do the edit, and you can focus on stuff that can really bring you more money.
Yeah. Florian, I know that as we discussed, you've got a strong presence on X, but one of the questions that I would regret not asking is with your presence on LinkedIn, which is powerful as well. I'm sure that sometimes you get these DMs as well, or people ask you, and I just want to ask for the audience because I know that it can be a bit annoying question. But if someone asks you, what's your advice for growth on LinkedIn, to go viral, or just to improve your presence, what will be your advice?
I like to speak about growth. Okay. Growth is related to, let's say it's the top funnel part, it's the followers, it's this kind of stuff. Growth is not money. Okay. It's connected to money, but it's not money. It's like, the first thing is, why do you want to grow? That's a very good question when you start. And I say, why is, it's very different is if you want a lot of followers because you want to do brand deals, or if you want, qualified clients. Depends what you sell. And that is really tricky because there are some people who are very popular, for example, on LinkedIn, because they do stuff that are easy for everybody. And so they do brand deals, you see. And there are some people who are less popular and sell stuff. So the first thing is you want to grow, but why? Why do you want to grow? Okay. Now you know why you want is because, for example, you want to sell your service at this moment. So the thing I always say is you want to reinvent the wheel. A lot of stuff are already here, and you need to take structure from things that work. And it's all the people that are successful on LinkedIn, almost all of them, they take structure from other places and topics and things like this. It's almost always the same stuff. It's always the same. So when you want to grow, you need to put your ego aside. And you need to look on what is working in other places. Examples, you can go on X, you can go on YouTube, for example, and see in your niche what the people are doing. YouTube is a good example because it's very SEO and useful things. So if something is not useful, usually it won't work a lot or things need to be changed. YouTube is really hard. And thing is you can have a lot of information of what is working or not, because you can see, for example, if you coach people leadership or coaching leadership, you will see a lot of leadership stuff on YouTube and you already know what is working or not. Now, what you want to do is adapt for you. And that's where people sometimes miss is like, okay, I'm telling literally, I'm talking about copy, but you want to take inspiration and to do like a swipe. So you adapt it for you. And that's where AI is really useful. It's like, okay, I want to take that. This is really interesting, but let's adapt it with another angle and another view on the topic. By doing this, you will understand the structures that works, because it's always the same kind of structure. We can see a lot on LinkedIn, your hook, your body, value, this kind of stuff. It's the same everywhere, but there's nuances depending how you're doing that. So if you want numbers, you want to take topics that are trendy and to be kind of to polarize, let's say. But if you only rely on trends, you're going to be let's say dependent on this. So that's also a problem. But you won't find the people who are already working on other places. And in fact, we can also go on TikTok. You see, TikTok is interesting because it's a really like viral stuff like this with spikes, and you just have to go on accounts that are with people that do the same stuff that you like, and you click on popular. It's at the top of TikTok. You can click on most popular, so you can see what are the videos that are working here. Because TikTok is viral stuff. Usually they have 10 videos that don't work, then one do a spikes. So you already know this. So that's the thing when people want to grow is put your ego aside, look what people are doing in other places and adapt it for you.
I only agree and I like it. It's like try to benefit from the people who do it well already, get inspired and find your unique edge, and don't try to reinvent the wheel because people did it already. So it's just easier for you and kind of proven already. And Florian, just as we will be finishing soon, can you please summarize where people can find you, follow you, and promote any of your services?
That's the moment where I do my ads. Um,
Ad blocker on.
okay. Okay. So I'm present on LinkedIn. I like to using LinkedIn quite a lot. So usually, if people want to know stuff, to learn some stuff, it's like they can go on LinkedIn. Don't hesitate to go in my old posts and carousel stuff like this. I done like quite a lot. There's a lot of stuff to learn in the top funnel, let's say, part of what I propose. And more recently, sometimes I try YouTube slowly because I have a terrible French accent. But it's like it's more for deep stuff where I speak, because with LinkedIn it's like you write stuff, but it's more surface level. So I will slowly go in more complex topics in YouTube. So that's it for now. If you want to follow to learn some stuff, mostly LinkedIn and YouTube for now.
And I would just mention, I saw your YouTube. I like the consistency. As we discussed before, you've got X as well, so I guess people can follow there also. And I saw that you've got newsletter too on your website.
Yeah, that's it. It's like the newsletter is like say basic newsletter where I just send stuff. A fun fact, just to know, the newsletter, I don't use AI at all to write the newsletter. So when I do this, it's just an exercise for me, like to speak. Okay, what happened during this week or 2 weeks sometimes, and I'm like, okay, let's just speak. So I'm used to write a newsletter before AI. So for me, it's more like just know that it's pure normal. I just use my normal voice to speak on the newsletter, and that's it.
It's good. At least we know that there will be no game changers in your newsletter. Well, Florian, I think we can finish it then for today. I want to say a big thank you because I really enjoyed it. I think we could be talking for much longer. As I've been following you for some time on LinkedIn, I really enjoy your content. You've got a great presence on other platforms as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Keep up doing the great work. Keep in touch. And yeah, wish you all the best and thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas. So I still follow you and see you later.
Thanks for listening to Produced by with Tomen. Check the show notes for all the links, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your feedback. Speak soon.